No, at first I used to think that it'd be all Red Sox fans.
It's a split, Phil. You know, it really is good, because I grew up here as a kid, and it was always a split between the Red Sox and the Yankee fans.
Well, I think that makes it great. You know, there's nothing like good hot stove league, as long as there's no fights. There was always plenty of fights in the ballpark when they got together.
Oh, some great games, huh? Hey, Phil, a quick question. A couple of weeks ago, Nellie Fox was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I know you played against him for many years. Give us some thoughts on Nellie.
Well, I had the very first year he was eligible to go in, I was really upset. I mean, they had failed to look at his record. I mean, he was unbelievable. He made himself. When he first came to big leagues, he was, you know, for a little guy, he was clumsy, and he made himself a good butter, hit to the opposite field, hit and run, great double play man. And if you look at his stats, very few second basemen compare to his stats. And he missed by 2 votes. And those Huckleberries, well, all they had to do was say, well, you know, of course he was not feeling well, and he did pass away.
Yeah.
Shortly after that. But I mean, he should have been in a long time ago. But there's nothing that he couldn't do after he had made himself a complete ball player. And he could beat you in so many ways, and he used to drive us nuts until I barnstormed with him one year.
Is that right?
Yeah, you never know anybody until you either played with them or roomed with them.
Yeah.
But he used to walk by and step on our rosin bag, little things, step on our rosin bag, we lose all the rosin, and he'd spit tobacco juice in my glove. In those days, we were throwing the glove out in the field, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, we were talking, we had Yogi on last week, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we've been really lucky to have Yogi, and now you on. And Yogi was talking about how few times Nellie struck out.
Oh, I mean, he just used that bottle bat and just laid the bat on the ball. And just, you couldn't, hard to defense him.
Well, you know, he was a little guy, and of course, Phil, you were, and you know, in looking at your statistics and looking at how small you were, I think we sometimes forget, you know, at 5'6" and 150 pounds when you were in your playing shape. And,
yeah.
and I've heard the story, and I know the fans here would like to hear it of, wasn't there a time when you were turned away at the front gate when you were a kid trying to go in for a tryout or something?
Oh, absolutely. No, if it hadn't been for Lefty Gomez, I'd never got it. I had met Lefty. He was playing some exhibition games after the season, and I had met him, got to know him quite well. And, you know, they thought, I said, you know, I'm supposed to be signed with the Yankees to come in. You know, this was spring training, all right. Don't forget, I had played 1 year in Bassett, 1 year in Norfolk, 2 years in Kansas City, and I come to spring training in 41, and I got my glove and little handbag was still those days. You had to be ready to roll in case you got sent down.
Yeah.
And I got to the gate, and Pop Logan was the clubhouse guy. And I started walking the door, and he grabbed me. He said, "What are you doing, kid?" I said, "Well, I'm with the Yankees. That's all my name." He says, "Get out of here." He says, everybody tries to get in there. And he wouldn't. And finally, Lefty came along, and I had played exhibition games when I was in the minor leagues with him in New York at Dexter Park, good semi-pro league. And he said to Pop Logan, "Did you better let this kid come in before these ducks out here walk all over him and hurt him?" And the first day after that workout, Lefty, I come in, there's a stool under my shower. And I said, "Well, what's this for?" And he said, "Well, if you wait, by the time the water gets down to you, it's going to be ice cold." And he broke the ice, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you had a great season that first year. You hit 307.
Yeah. I mean, when you're playing with great ball players, it makes you play a little harder, and they don't bear down on me as much as they had to do, like Henry Keller and DiMaggio in the outfield, and Dickey and Gordon and Ralph and all those.
Yeah, but 307, that's not a bad way to break in.
No, I was very...
And, of course, you guys wiped out the Dodgers that first year, so you got a taste of what it was going to be like from there on out.
Oh, you know, it was terrible because you expected it every year. And it was, out of all the years I played, there were just 3, I guess, years that we didn't get in the World Series.
Imagine that, huh?
Isn't it?
Imagine that. And, you know, when you think of the money that the guys make today, do you remember what your first World Series check was?
My first World Series check was more than I got for the whole year in 41.
Is that right?
But it wasn't that much.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have given us whatever they wanted to. There was no minimum salary like today. It's unbelievable. Minimum salary, you could almost retire.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
But it's great. I don't mind the ball players getting, as long as they put something back, give something back to the game.
Yeah.
But everything now seems to be money, and can't wait till they become free agents so they can go. So you can't even have a fan club anymore.
Yeah. You know, you played with Bill Dickey, because you mentioned his name, at the tail end of his career. And it's been said...
it wasn't the tail end of his career when I played.
Oh, he was still in his prime then.
Oh, he was hitting 300 and throwing guys out.
How good was he, Phil?
Oh, he was smooth. I mean, he was like velvet. I mean, for a guy that big, and he was big in that era. There weren't too many big men, but he was big. And he threw that ball, and it came in like a feather.
Is that right?
Like Yogi, that Huckleberry throw me sliders and sinkers. Yogi had little fingers, and the ball would slip out of his hand. Actually, Dickey really helped Yogi a tremendous amount. Helped him grab the ball across the seam so it wouldn't sail too much.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you know, when you look at your career, and of course you think of that year 1950 when you had the MVP season.
Oh, I love to think of that year.
Well, 324, and now you had 7 home runs that year. Were they putting something extra in your macaroni or what?
Oh no, it was one of those years where I couldn't do anything wrong. I'd hit a ground ball, or would hit a pebble, bounce over the infielder's head, break a bat, and if the sun would get in the fielder's eye. I tell you, I mean, I hit a lot of balls on the nose. I got a lot of triples that year, and and Bill Dickey had shown me something. 2 things happened that year. I had to go to an eye doctor because my depth perception was terrible for some reason, and they put me on these eye exercises that really strengthened my eyes. Man, I could see that ball good. And then Dickey moved my hands around on the bat. He used to come up to the room. He'd come up like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and he'd have a broomstick in his hand, and he'd show me how to, to hold the bat. And I mean, it felt uncomfortable, but then it did, it's like a good golf grip.
Yeah.
That little extra. And I hit nothing but line drives all that whole season.
Well, and you also had, of course, you had a good year every year with a glove, but you led the league in putouts that year, and you had a 982 fielding average. You had just
I didn't know. I didn't work that year.
Yeah.
200 hits, and that's all.
Yeah.
How did that ever happen?
No, you led the league in fielding that year. And, this, I can still close my eyes, and Phil Rizzuto, by the way, is our guest on the telephone, in case you just don't know. Phil, I can still close my eyes and just visualize you when you bunted the ball. I never saw anybody with the dexterity with a bat bunting a ball like that. How did you learn that?
Well, my high school coach was a little guy, Al Cunis, in Richmond Hill High School, and he tried to become a professional ball player. And he was, like I say, my size, and he didn't have power. And he told me, he said, you can't steal first base, but there's a lot of ways you can get on there. And one of them was by bunting. And because he knew I didn't have the power to hit home runs. And I practiced and finally I got it down so good I could do it anytime. I would jump up in the air on a squeeze play and be able to bunt the ball. Bunt it on one bounce.
It was unbelievable. Where you just drop that bat quick, boom, and then you're off and running.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Well, I had to do it because, like I say, you can't steal first base. You're gonna.
No, no one's figured that one out yet.
No.
Of course, that 50 team, and what a staff you worked behind with.
Oh,
with
geez.
Reynolds and Rashi and Lopez.
Lopez and
Tommy Byrne.
Oh, geez, Tommy Burns, yeah. So was Whitey there that year? Or did he go in the service?
No, I think he was in the service that year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now, one name, and I mentioned Tommy Byrne. There was a guy who didn't maybe get the ink that a lot of other guys, but what a great pitcher he was.
Who?
Tommy Byrne.
Oh, yes.
And
don't forget, he started out as a hard thrower and wild as could be. And he went down to the minors and practiced his control. He came back and he was outstanding. He got a lot of strikeouts and funny. He was really...
And he was a good hitter, too. Phil.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Did you have favorites that you liked working behind among the great Yankee pitchers? Maybe guys that worked quick or...
Well, Whitey Ford, Rashi, and Lopez. They got rid of the ball quickly. They didn't take any time stepping off the mound, walking around during the day. Got the ball, and they were always around the plate, whereas Tommy Byrne, sometimes he'd walk 13 and strike out 13. That's a long day, You're back on your heels, but Ford and Rashi and Reynolds, I mean, they got that ball over, and you were ready every time. And there were a lot of very quick games because they didn't get too many hits off those three guys.
No, they didn't.
No.
Phil, what was it like playing shortstop in front of the great Joe DiMaggio in center field?
Oh, man, it was like he was a big security blanket that took care of all of us in center field. Every once in a while when things were tough and the game was tough, you just turn your head a little bit and peek, make sure he was out there. And then it would give you a sense of, this is it. We're going to win this ball game some way. And because he never led by being a guy like Billy Martin, Billy was a great leader. He could get you
vocally
up for a game, vocal. But Joe let his playing, his hitting, fielding, and base running, and everything take over, and he was the leader in that sense. And it was just unbelievable. I never saw him lose his hat running after difficult catches. Never saw him dive for a ball, and yet he made all the plays that these great outfielders used to make, like Mays, and they dive and they lose their cap. Not taking anything away from them, but the match.
That's what Yogi said. He said he was always there wherever the ball went. He was there.
He had the uncanny knack of being able to move from center field, and when the ball would hit the bat, he knew. Or even maybe a little before it. But I never turned, as it was hit, I turned around quickly, and he was always on the move, whereas Mantle, who started as a shortstop, and then went to center field, never had that quick move, but his speed, he caught up with it. Sometimes he'd run right by it, he was so fast.
Yeah.
Great ball player.
Now, of course, Waterbury is the hometown of Jimmy Pearsall. Phil, how good a center fielder was Jimmy in your mind?
He was very good. He was also an outstanding shortstop.
That's right. He came up and
played as a shortstop, and we talked a lot together. We became pretty good friends, and I still hear from him when we get out to Chicago. He's got a sports show out there.
I understand he does.
Yeah.
I bet he's exciting on the air, huh?
Oh, he's great, but he says whatever he thinks. He's like I am. You get in trouble when you say it. But no, he was an outstanding outfielder too, because don't forget he had played the infield, playing shortstop. He was able to move and come in on ground balls, throw those guys out. Play a shallow field like that.
And he played a real shallow center.
He and Dominic DiMaggio probably played the shallowest center field of any big leaguer. Took a lot of base hits away.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, do you mind if we take a couple of calls?
No, go right ahead.
Could you do that? Okay, let's take a call. WATR, you're on the air with Phil Rizzuto.
I'm on the air with Phil.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Phil, a distinct pleasure talking to you. Dan, I love you.
Who is this?
Dan from Waterbury.
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Good, Phil. You take me back. In 49, my sister-in-law tells me, I think it was, you were tied with Boston. It was the last game of the season.
Oh, damn, I'll never forget it. Oh.
We had 3 bachelors with 3 sisters whom we finally married. And we paid $1. We went down there, took we paid $1. We were in deep center field.
No kidding.
And I think that's the day you hit a homer, and I went crazy. I think we won 7-5, and I'm not sure it was either Rashi or Reynolds pitching. I think it was Rashi.
It was Rashi, yep.
Remember that 49?
Oh, I'll never forget it.
Yeah, that was a beauty.
Never forget it.
Yeah, I just wanted you to know that. I'd never forget it.
No, I don't. That was, and then that Joe DiMaggio day.
Yeah, you had the 2 DiMaggios in center field.
Yep.
And that's the closest I ever got to Joe DiMaggio, and that was a thrill. And I was in center field.
Well, you were right.
When we went home,
there all day.
We looked like 6 Indians. We were all burnt on the right-hand side of our faces, striped on the nose from the sun out there.
Yeah.
We laughed like hell when we got on the sub. And we're laughing. Why are we laughing? We're all burnt on the right-hand side. I mean, it was really something. It's a shame they got rid of center field.
Well, you remember we didn't play too many night games in those days.
No.
Everything was day games.
I'll hang up because there's people want to talk to you.
Thank you.
Hey, good talking to you.
Pleasure. I love you.
Okay.
Bye now. WATR, good afternoon. You're on with Phil Rizzuto.
Holy cow.
Holy cow. Who's this?
Oh, this is a lady that's a Yankee from the time that Mel Allen was the announcer.
Oh, good old
Joe
days.
DiMaggio,
Yeah.
Whitey Ford.
Oh, yeah.
And I hear that you're the only one that gets along with George Steinbrenner.
What do you say to that?
About, yes. Just about.
Okay,
no,
thanks.
he loves you.
Yes, I know it. I know it. I said, but I do get along with him very well.
And you won a red car. I remember they gave you a red car. So I think you I don't know if you're in the Hall of Fame, but...
Oh, he sure is.
Yes,
he sure is.
Oh,
He's in, and deservedly
God bless
so.
you.
Thank you.
I love talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. WATR, you're on with Phil Rizzuto. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I talk with Phil Rizzuto?
Yes, sir.
Speaking.
How you doing, Phil?
All right, who's this?
This is Benny.
Hey, Benny, how you doing?
Great. I'm a great Yankee fan, and I'm so happy to hear from you.
Well, thank you. I guess last year you were very happy, huh? Even happier.
Sure was. Oh, that was fantastic.
You know, I think everybody, the whole country became Yankee fans because of the team and Joe Torre.
Well, the way
that
Joe
happened.
Torre did a job, he was tremendous.
Yes, he was.
And Bob Watson, too.
Yeah, well, you figure guys like Jeter, who I think is outstanding,
Outstanding.
and the whole team pulled together.
That's right. And I also want to congratulate you on your induction in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, thanks very much.
Can I talk about some of the players that you, like Moose Scarin and Roger Maris?
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Yeah, great. What do you thought about Roger?
Oh, he was outstanding. Just a shame that, he couldn't believe that he hit 61 home runs. He was not what you would call a home run hitter.
That's right.
He was a great guy, and he had that perfect swing for that 1 year.
Swing for Yankee Stadium.
He was an outstanding outfielder. Could run the bases, had a great arm.
He made the World Series.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're going to move on.
Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Hey.
WATR, you're on with Phil Rizzuto. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Rizzuto.
Yes.
Could you just tell us a little bit how it was to work with Casey Stengel?
Great question. Go ahead.
Say that again.
How was it to work with Casey Stengel, Phil?
Oh, it was unbelievable because you had to really listen when you had a meeting because he was the best double talker ever. But somewhere along the line in those meetings, he talked very clear for just maybe a minute, and that was the message you wanted to get across. You had better listen. But old Casey and I had our differences, because it was Casey who was managing the Brooklyn Dodgers when I was just graduated high school and had a tryout with the Dodgers. And he told me I was too small, and the only way I'd ever make a living was get a shoe shine box. And I'll never forget that. And when Casey finally came over to be the manager, I used to remind him all the time, and he didn't like that too much. But, I never forgot that. Might have been one of the things that
stays with you.
Determined.
Stays with you, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Casey, of course, was either the first or one of the first managers to really use the different lineups. He
platoon. He started the platoon system.
And I know that...
You got to remember, Jim, that he was so fortunate to have so many good... You can't do it if you don't have a whole pool of talent. Everybody sitting on the bench was almost as good as the guys playing.
Guys like, I know Gene Woodling and Hank Bauer, they weren't too happy about that.
No, and yet, at the end, they realized that what Casey did lengthened their careers. They played half a season each, just about. And
hey, the proof is in the pudding, Phil. You won all those World Series.
Right, yep.
Phil Rizzuto is our guest, by the way, and he'll be here in Waterbury on Thursday night at the 4 Points Hotel by ITT Sheraton, sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, their chamber membership dinner, and we appreciate him. Can you chat with us for a little while longer, Phil?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we really appreciate that. Let me pause for a couple of commercials, and we'll be right back.
Oh, you got to have them.
Okay, Phil, thank you. The Scooter, Phil Rizzuto, and we'll get back and chat some more with Phil in just 2 minutes. Jim Senich here with our combination at 16 till 3. We've got Phil Rizzuto, the Hall of Fame shortstop, the Scooter, on the line with us right now because he'll be in our city on Thursday night at the Chamber of Commerce membership meeting at the 4 Points Hotel by ITT Sheraton. Phil, I know a lot of your fans want to know whether or not you're going to be involved in any of the telecast of the Yankee games this year.
For so many years I cried wolf at the end of the season. I'd say, this is it. I'm through. I'm hanging it up, and I'd come back. And everybody realized it. I felt like that at the time. But this year, for some reason, it was my 40th year, and it's not real sincere, this thing, but it was my 56th year as a Yankee, playing and broadcast. And I figured I tied DiMaggio's record. I didn't want to break it. I really thought of this,
Yeah.
And of course, it's not hitting in consecutive games like Joe did. But I said, and I was getting a little leery of flying anyway. And I thought I'd pack it in. I thought, I'd I've been around so long, I figured they need some new blood in there, some new voice. But Pitch doesn't have any games this year, but MSG is going to do 150, and they wrote me the nicest letter and asked me if I'd come, and I could practically name what games I wanted to do, how many innings. I could go over the George Washington Bridge in the 7th inning, and all that. But I really am going to try my best not to do any games this year.
Yeah.
I really, I think it's time that, we'll get some young blood in there.
Well, you got to do what's best for you too, Phil.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's been a long time, and I've never lived so-called normal life, and I don't know whether I can do it. I don't even know whether I would be able to retire without going bananas,
Yeah. You worked with a lot of great guys in the booth over the years, but I think when you were with Bill White, you guys had a ball together.
He was the best.
Yeah.
I tell you, we had a ball, and when completely unrehearsed, we just got along with each other for 18 years, never had an argument, still haven't had one. He was great. He was great. He could do anything he wanted. Of course, he became president of the National League, but then he was so discouraged because he found out later he was just a figurehead. They wouldn't let him have any input. And he had a lot of ideas. I remember when he left the broadcast booth, and he was so excited. He said, I can help the players and the owners and the umpires. He really wanted to do things for baseball.
And he ran into all that bureaucratic stuff.
Yep. Much of that.
Yeah. So let's pick up another call, okay? WATR, good afternoon. You're on with Phil Rizzuto.
Yeah, Jim. Can I just make a quick comment?
Sure, go ahead.
Gee, I'll tell you, Mr. Rizzuto, I hope you rethink, and I hope you're back on, because I think the game really needs you. I really
Thank you. No, thank you. The fans have been great. I mean, they keep telling me that.
The game is going the wrong way here, and to have you leave the game, I think there'll be a hole that'll never be.
Oh, don't say that.
Well, I'm just saying, the game really needs you. Yogi, a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to him, and you guys leave the game, the game's going to be hurting as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, Yogi, I mean, and he just won't come back to Yankee Stadium. Steinbrenner's there.
Yeah, we asked him about that again. He said, I'm not coming back.
It's such a shame. My father used to take me to Yankee Stadium. My first time down there was a doubleheader. He wanted to leave, and boy, I was glued to that seat. And I just, not even a hot dog, I just wouldn't.
No kidding, boy, you were a real fan.
Oh, I loved it. I still do. And it's
a
shame I don't hear you. It would be so nice to go home on a night and just hear you, and it'll have a lot of fun. And the games are just not the same without you. And I just figured I'd blow some smoke. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Well, he represents hundreds of thousands of people, Phil. You know that.
Oh, geez, you're going to bring tears to my eyes.
Well, it's true. And he's right. That baseball, when you were playing in the 40s and 50s, it was just something special, Phil.
No, it was. I mean, it give the people something to look forward to. Right now it's very difficult to feel sorry for a ball player now with the money they're making and some of the attitudes they have. Which I'd like to see them get as much as they can, because anything could happen. One play and you're through. Your whole career is shot, and your earning power is just limited to as long as you're feeling healthy. But they've got to start putting things back into the game. They did a little better. They finally signed that contract with the owners and the union, and at least it's for 4 or 5 years. There won't be any more strikes. And,
don't need that anymore, Phil.
No, my God, they've ruined that.
Don't need that
year. That would have been another great year for the Yankees.
Yep, that's right. Hey, Phil, when we had Yogi on, I asked him who was the toughest pitcher he faced. He mentioned Alex Kellner, the great left-hander.
With the left-hander, he would be.
With the A's. Yeah, and of course, Yogi being left-handed hitter. How about you?
No, mine was Bob Feller. I mean,
oh, jeez.
They called him Blinky, because he used to blink his eyes when you were afraid he couldn't see it. And Lefty Gomez got kicked out of the game that one time when it was, we played mostly day ball back then. Games would start at 3 o'clock at the stadium, and it got dark. And it was an extra inning game, and Lefty had been pitching, and he came up to bat, and he lit a couple of matches. And the umpire said, "What are you doing that for? You can still see." He said, "I want to make sure that the fella can see me up there." And they kicked him out of the game. But no, Bob Feller, man, he had some curveball. He was like Koufax. He was a right-handed Sandy Koufax. He could throw as hard as anybody, and he had a curveball just like Koufax that broke off the end of the table. You just couldn't hit it.
And your legs became like rubber, I guess, huh?
He sat a lot of guys down on their backside, falling away from a curveball, and then it broke over the plate for a strike. It's tough to hang in there.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't have too much trouble with him. I didn't hit that much, but I never swung hard. I just tried to punch my bunted a lot, just try to punch the ball.
Did you ever barnstorm with him at all, Phil?
Yes, I did. That was 1946, and I mean it was like a lifesaver because I had been in the service for 3 years, came out in 46, and had a tough time getting back in the groove because I had been, overseas and had hepatitis and wasn't real sharp. And so he asked me, along with Charlie Keller and Tommy Henrik, and a lot of the other major leaguers, we barnstormed and played Satchel Paige's All-Stars. And it was, I mean, they had their playing, we had ours. We play all these little towns, sometimes double-headers. And Satchel and Feller would pitch in every game. Not the whole game, naturally, but so the folks could see them.
What are your memories of Satchel as a pitcher?
Oh, and what a great guy. Oh, and everything they wrote about him was true. And don't forget, I had batted against Satchel Paige when I was a kid in high school.
Is that right?
Yep. I shouldn't say that because I was...
Shows your age, I guess, huh?
Oh, you're not allowed to play or get any money when you...
Oh, that's right, too. Yes, yeah.
But anyway, it was after the season was over anyway. And
what made him so good, Phil?
His control. And in those days, you were allowed to use the hesitation pitch. And he was the only one that could really do it because he was so strong. He took a big lazy wind up and he kicked that leg and he'd bring it down and you were leaning forward like waiting for the fastball to come, and then he'd throw it and you couldn't get the bat back in time. But he had such pinpoint control. I mean, you've heard that story where he said, anybody got a piece of gum? He'd take the gum. Wouldn't chew it, but he'd take the wrapper off and lay it on the ground.
Yeah.
He said, all right, that's home plate. He went out to the pitcher's mound, and he threw strikes right over that thing.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Really something, I'd say.
This is the year that Major League Baseball is celebrating the great career of Jackie Robinson. Phil, of course, you played against him in his series.
I sure did, and he gave infielders headaches, and pitchers and catchers, too. But, I mean, he was so quick. He could steal bases.
What an exciting player.
He was. And what he went through, I tell you, got to give him a lot of credit. They were pretty rough on him.
I can still remember that number 42, by the way he'd go back and forth on first base. And
little pigeon toe.
Yeah.
That's your speed, too, that way. A lot of great sprinters were like that.
Hey, Corey, we can't go through this interview without getting you to say something about Ted Williams.
Oh, the greatest hitter I ever played with or against. I mean,
the best,
with an All-Star game, but I mean, he was. It was just unbelievable the way he could see the ball and hit the ball. And never once did he go to left field, and he still batted over 400.
He just refused to do that.
Refused to do it. I just saw Ted. He's got that museum in Hernando, Florida.
How's he doing, Phil?
Beautiful, but he's not. I mean, he's hanging in there, but he had 3 strokes, and he lost that great peripheral vision of his.
Yeah.
He fell down one time, broke his shoulder, had to get a new shoulder, broke his hip, had to get a new hip. He's in a wheelchair, but he's hanging in there. And he's as sharp as ever, but, God, when you lose that eyesight, he's as ornery as ever, too.
Well, that's good. That means...
He was great to me, and all young ball players. He'd get on second base a lot, and he'd talk to us, and he'd tell us, he'd give us tips, and, he was really wonderful.
Of course, you had the Williams shift, I guess, in those days, right?
It didn't do any good. It did not do any good. He was just, he hit the ball sort of like on the upswing. The ball would have a lot of spin. A lot of times you'd think you got a ground ball spin right out of your glove. Line drive.
Yeah. Let's pick up on another call, Phil.
Okay.
WATR, good afternoon. You're on with Phil Rizzuto.
Jim, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Hi, sir. How you doing, sir?
Good.
I watched you growing up as a youngster and playing shortstop.
Uh-huh.
And you had some tremendous plays, and congratulations on finally getting into the Hall of Fame.
Well, thanks very much. I enjoyed every minute I had that Yankee uniform on.
You sure was a good representative for the Yankees.
No, thank you.
Yeah. And one more thing, last summer when you, Bobby Mercer, and Billy Crystal were all in the booth together.
Oh, yeah.
and Bobby Crystal was kidding around with you?
Yeah.
That was something.
He is, so he can imitate me, and I get a kick out of him.
Oh, sure. Listen, thank you for talking to me, and I hope to see you in some of the games this year.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Phil. Thank
So long.
Bye-bye now. WATR, good afternoon. You're on with Phil Rizzuto.
Hi, Phil.
Yeah.
I met you some years ago. You were pinch hitting for a ball player who couldn't make it here to St. Margaret's School in Waterbury. You were coming down from Maine from a function of your son.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that night. I just want to say that you and Bob Thompson of the Baltimore Orioles are true gentlemen of the game.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I remember that night. Yeah, I was on the way home from Binghamton.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's nice to hear, huh?
Hey, Jim,
Yep.
one name I forgot now. He lives right close there, Naugatuck, Frank Specshea.
Oh, sure, Naugatuck Nugget.
What?
The Naugatuck Nugget,
Yeah,
sure.
Naugatuck, but I mean, there was a guy who could really pitch and funny. I mean, he could keep you in stitches all day and all night. He was really a riot.
I'll tell you, I did a couple of shows with him, and he is one of the great storytellers.
Yes, he is.
And hey, he could handle that fungo bat, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
He could really whack that ball.
Yep.
He's a great guy. I remember that, of course, that 47 season. That was a golden season for him.
Yep.
You just played in so many World Series and pennant-winning seasons. I guess you sit back and say to yourself, boy, it was great being a Yankee. I know that sounds corny, but it's so true, isn't it?
It was, because you'd have a good winter to look forward to. Most ball players had to work during the winter. We always had that World Series check.
And, you know, we were talking before about how mainly you played day games, and that's what baseball was really all about.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, night ball has its pluses, but you can't beat the daytime.
How did the infield at Yankee Stadium rank with other infields around the American
Oh, it
League?
was great. They had great infields all the time. But they had always had paisans that were in charge. Always. You know, the ground crew is a real important part to a team.
Well, you go to St. Louis there, and that was like playing on cement.
Yeah, but they had two teams. They never got a day off to fix the field.
Yeah.
The Cardinals and the Browns. But listen, I got to go, really.
Okay, Phil.
About time you're through.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you taking this time. But to talk to you and Yogi, it's really a pleasure.
Oh, that's good. Well, you can thank Cyrus Centenary for that. He's the one that set this up with me and you.
Okay.
Okay.
And we'll see you on Thursday when you come into the city.
Okay.
Take care, Phil.
Right.
Bye-bye now. The Scooter, Phil Rizzuto. They don't come any nicer than him, huh? What a gentleman. What a great guy. Phil Rizzuto. And he'll be in the city on Thursday night at the 4 Points Hotel by ITT Sheraton. And it is sponsored by the Greater Waterbury Chamber of Commerce. The great Phil Rizzuto.
Taking care of you and others in the neighborhood.